Street as well. First, though, as always, we are cutting through the bull. It goes without saying that there is a lot of confusion about just how the $700 billion in federal bailout money is being spent. If there's a strategy to it, if Treasury Secretary Hank Paulson really does have a plan, it's certainly been lost on me and I think most Americans. And there are plenty of examples of these funds being directed in ways that don't entirely make sense. I got an email from someone down in Louisiana today who was pretty fired up about a story he read in his local paper about a local bank. Iberia Bank is apparently requesting $90 million in federal bailout money and getting it. $90 million. But here's what might surprise you. Iberia Bank is not in trouble. Bank officials say they're having no financial stress at all. In fact, just the opposite. The bank managed to avoid the whole mortgage mess, and today it's in great financial shape. So what are they doing using the $90 million in bailout money to grow their business? That's what they're doing. They're buying up smaller banks. Now, bank officials argue that this is good for taxpayers, that when healthy banks have capital to buy troubled banks, then those troubled banks can stay in business, and that's good for everybody. But is it? I mean, was that the real intent of this bailout plan, to give taxpayer money to businesses that are already doing well? And if that is the plan, are taxpayers ever going to see a return on that investment? The government hasn't really given us the answer to any of these questions. So to help us cut through the bull tonight in our search for a little clarity, or heaven forbid, a little accountability, we bring in our own Ali Velshi, Chief Business Correspondent, for our special Ali Velshi Cutting Through the Bull. Handing out cash to healthy banks. I mean, does it make sense?
Well, here's the thing. Iberia Bank is doing exactly what Citigroup did. The Treasury has been giving money to banks without stipulation as to what they're supposed to use it for. Now, Citibank said the same thing, Citigroup. They said when they got that first bailout, they're going to use it to buy other banks, make acquisitions. Well, that might be great for the shareholders. It might actually be good for the struggling banks. But that wasn't what we thought that Congress was debating. We thought they were debating something that would loosen the credit crisis all the way from the biggest of international companies all the way to small businesses and to you and me. And that's not happening. When a bank takes bailout money, federally funded taxpayer money, even though it's a loan, and uses it to buy other banks, they are buying property on the cheap, the way you and I might snap up properties because they'll be worth something later. How exactly does that open up the credit markets? And a lot of banks haven't done that. And the Government Accounting Office said this week, there's a real lack of accountability about where this money's going.
So is that why the credit markets haven't opened?
Well, they've opened at some levels. I mean, at the highest levels they've opened up, but we still know people have trouble getting car loans. They're having trouble getting mortgages. Small businesses are closing up at a rapid rate in this country, and that's the engine of job growth. In a country where we'll lose almost 2 million jobs this year, we need money to flow to people who need the money. And when banks take money from the federal bailout loan program and then use it to buy other banks, that does not necessarily flow through to you and me. It might. They might be buying banks so they can stay in business, so they can make more loans, but we don't know that, and I bet you the Treasury doesn't know that.
And very quickly, would we ever get a return on our investment? If, like, say, these investments, they're buying up all these smaller banks and they do well, are we going to see any of the upside of that?
Theoretically, you might, because some of this is equity and some of them are just loans. But yeah, you might actually see an investment. But again, that's not the point. We didn't authorize the government to spend $700 billion so it could make money on investments. We authorized them to spend that money so that people could get help and the credit freeze can be broken. This doesn't seem to go any length to getting that done.
So the transparency issues, the accountability issues, still very much at play here. Ali Velshi for us tonight, trying to explain it. Thanks, Ali. We'll see you back here to talk about the audit stuff a little bit later in the show. Right now, we do have a lot